Good afternoon. Thank you for taking time to join us in this webinar, Designing for the Future Burger King Restaurant. My name is Jewel, and I am from the Design Singapore Council. I will be your event MC and moderator for today. The session today is brought to you by Design Singapore Council and is supported by Burger King Singapore and National Design Centre. This webinar is part of a series of engagement and sharing sessions under the Good Design Research Initiative, which aims to help designers and design enterprises in Singapore find a unique value proposition in designing for impact through research and experimentation and a network of knowledge partners. Now, please allow me to introduce the speakers and this afternoon's program. My colleague Hui Mei from Design Singapore Council will be joining us shortly to share an overview of the Good Design Research Initiative. Next, we will have Mr. Goh Chin Hao, CEO of Burger King Singapore, and restaurant designer Mr. Faizan Sedek, to share with us about Burger King's future online-offline hybrid dining experiences that they seek to engage designers in. Burger King Singapore operates more than 50 outlets in Singapore today, after first arriving in Singapore in 1982. Finally, we will end the session with a Q&A segment, as well as a timeline for the upcoming GDR events, including the next GDR open call, where you could submit an application if you are keen to respond to Burger King's challenge statement. Without further ado, we will start the session with an introduction to the Good Design Research Initiative. Hui Mei, please.
Thanks, Joel, for the quick introduction, and thank you all for taking the time to join us today. So I'm not sure how many of you would have heard about the Good Design Research Initiative, and so I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you a little bit more about the background. So first, I'll be sharing on why good design research is important, and then secondly, on the key elements of this initiative. Its importance in today's context was very apparent when we conducted our research in close consultation with designers and design enterprises. We interviewed over 40 of them, with most of them recognizing that designing for impact, which is also what most will recognize as good design, will help them shape their value proposition and stand out in the global marketplace. And on the demand side, there has always been a recognition of the role that design can play in mitigating the world's complex issues. This is especially apparent in the COVID pandemic. And the design innovation that we need right now goes beyond simply improving the user experiences for retail, but that also requires deep research. Clearly, there is a need for deep research that is fundamental to good design. However, good design research requires two key things, right? We require significant investment as well as a strong network that is not always possible with smaller design firms. And therefore, with the Good Design Research Initiative, the Design Council plans to bridge these two resource gaps for our designers. The first part of the Good Design Research Initiative aims to build a strong network to foster multidisciplinary collaborations that are necessary for design impact projects. We are hoping to achieve these through this webinar, as well as the subsequent sharing and engagement sessions. Through inviting impact-driven speakers with challenge statements that you may respond to, or even experts in the fields of technology, systems and processes, or identity and culture with concepts or tools that you may leverage on for your projects. The second part of the Good Design Research Initiative aims to support exploratory projects through open calls. For example, if you are keen to respond to Burger King's challenge statement that they will be sharing later on, you may submit a proposal for the open call coming up in March next year and potentially receive sponsorship, mentorship, as well as publicity support. Through these two key phases, the Good Design Research encourages designers to develop unique value proposition. It seeks to support designers embarking on projects with deep explorations and research into these three key tracks that you see on the left here: identity and culture, systems and processes, as well as new technologies. It also seeks to support designers who are embarking on projects with a focus on design impact. And with this, I hope that you have a good overview of what the Good Design Research Initiative is all about. At the end of the session, we will also have a QR code where you can find out more information about the initiative. And with this, I will pass the time back to Jewel.
Thank you, Hui Mei. So for today's session, we are actually going to give a bit more time to Q&A because I do understand quite a few of us have quite a lot of key questions, good questions for our guest speakers today as well. So we will now like to invite Mr. Goh Chin Hao, CEO of Burger King Singapore, to share with you about Burger King Singapore's future dining experiences they seek designers for. Mr. Goh, please.
Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing? I'm looking out the window, and I think it's Singapore is having a thunderstorm right now. A great time to talk about the challenge statement today. Very appropriate, especially when just before this session, I ordered home delivery. And you should know that when it rains cats and dogs, right, delivery will always be delayed. Why am I saying that the delivery part is going to be part of the conversation? I think for the start, the later we'll know that the COVID has done a lot of has actually enabled a lot of changes. Okay, some behavioral, some digital, and Burger King itself has to pivot towards the future. I think the topic today we want to take on is really what happens in the new norm and what does the future Burger King looks like in the future. Okay, so but before I go into that, I'd like to introduce myself first. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Goh Chin Hao. I'm the CEO for Burger King Singapore. Okay, and I'm very happy to also have my colleague Faizin here. He's our restaurant manager, designer. And I will start with introduction, and I'll talk a bit about the challenge statement and the context of it. After that, I'll hand over to Faizin, where he will walk us through the current existing design framework that we are currently utilizing. Okay. First and foremost, thank you, DSG, for organizing this important session. We are very excited about this partnership, okay, and really look forward to having many outcomes from the challenge statement we have posted, okay? Because personally, I believe that design can be a game changer, okay, and it's actually a very powerful tool for business growth, okay? So, and I really hope that we define the question enough and sufficiently, and we take time to answer your questions as well for us to be able to look forward to some exciting proposal from you guys. Okay, a little bit about Burger King. So Burger King arrived in Singapore in 1982, okay, and the first store, it was actually in Peninsula Plaza, okay? Right now, of course, from one humble outlet, we have seen grown strength to strength. We are now at 56 stores. Okay, the most recent store we opened was in Choa Chu Kang, okay, within the community center. Okay, so Burger King itself, what are we famous for? We are famous for our Whopper sandwiches, okay? So, and more importantly, we own flame grill. So flame grilling means using grill fire to cook our product patties. Okay, and we are also famous for our rendang burger and also our double mushroom Swiss. Okay, these are the products that actually resonated with the Singaporean culture. So before I go into the challenge statement, I wanted to take some time to show you guys about two different designs that we currently have within the Singapore Burger King portfolio. So one of them it was actually the one and only what we call the BK Prime concept. And it is actually we use it to open together with Jewel in Changi at Changi Airport in April 2019. This store is very transformative. It's because we decided to adopt a design, okay, that is more edgy and forward, especially using a lot of our existing brand icons, such as you can see on the bottom left picture. You will see a big Burger King logo being blown up and actually pasted on the wall, okay? And now on the right side, you will see our famous Whopper stripes. These are the colors that we use. And you can also look at the sofa. We actually apply it across the furniture as well, creating a consistent look, okay? We know that this design actually works well. It also helps us to reach out to the millennials and the Gen Z, because it's vastly different from what we have in the rest of the stores. Okay. The next design is actually a store. You'll see photos from this store. It's actually to celebrate our 50th store in Singapore. Okay, and that was opened in July 2019. Okay, this design is atypical of many Burger King stores that you see around the island. Okay, and likewise, this is more or less the staple design that we use across the globe as well. Okay, so this design has been actually with us for maybe 5 to 10 years. Okay, but the prime design that you saw earlier was something that we decided to launch once we got the blessing from our main franchisor, Burger King Global. Okay, so this design is, you can see it tries to create the feel of barbecue, okay, natural authenticity in the design elements and the brick wall and the heritage wall, the photos that you see at the back on the bottom left picture. Okay, and we usually adorn the layout itself, the dining area, with juicy pictures of our burgers. Okay, so I think a bit of the context to the challenge statement, okay, before I go into it. I think COVID has really dealt a big blow to a lot of businesses in Singapore. Specifically, I'm talking about fast food. So I think if you guys have been around since April, you would have known the situation. It wasn't really looking positive, but we still need to feed the nation. That is what we see our position as. And fast food, with our food safety protocol and our ability to ramp up, is probably one of the best partners that we can work with the government to develop a different dining experience. Okay, so and it is also a time that we see adoption acceleration in adoption of technology. So we already have an existing mobile app, and we already have the self-ordering kiosk. Okay, and we also be working with the home delivery partners like Foodpanda, Grab, and Deliveroo all these times. Okay, but what we saw in the month of April and May, okay, when one of our competitors is affected by it, we saw our sales really went up significantly. Okay, and really means it is really very important. But however, what we also experienced is the impatience. Okay, and also that the existing design of the restaurant is not conducive for such a massive crowd trying to get into Burger King to order food. Okay, so we experienced a lot of downtime as well, including customers were very upset with us, especially during the part that they have to literally wait 35 minutes to 45 minutes for their meal. Some even up to 2 hours, okay, especially when we are flooded with delivery orders. So that was the context of when we met up with DSG, we were talking about it, and then we were talking about how does the future looks for us. You know, is my existing current restaurant design really adapted for the new norm, or was it that we actually just managed to make do and pull through this crisis? You know, but firmly deep down, I believe that this is here to stay. You know, and having sanitizers, dispensing machines being placed in my outlets is no longer an exception. Okay, it's become the norm. Okay, likewise, we are also, just to give some examples, exploring like contactless door that you can actually have auto door opening, or we can actually have the sink, for example, for people to wash their hands. Okay, and what I'm trying to say is that it has actually redefined the whole dining experience. In the past, we have a very cookie cutter kind of layout for the restaurant. You know, we basically cut the restaurant into 2/3 and 1/3, 1/3 for the kitchen and the service counter. And then after that, the rest of it will be the front of house, which is where the dining experience is concentrated. And we used a lot of existing furnitures and sofa and high table seats to define the different segment the dining area to cater to the different needs of our customers. Okay, and likewise the kiosk itself. So the kiosk itself, and we even we have to make sure that the sanitation process on the kiosk is done at least hourly. Okay, to give customers the assurance that we are focusing on utmost priority on safety as well. So these are some examples of the context of what we are doing today. Okay, and why we have arrived at the two challenge statement that you saw on the screen today. Okay, so the first one is how might we design future fast food restaurants that enhances guest experiences amidst the current challenges that we're facing, such as the social distancing policy? Okay, and is this a new norm moving forward? Okay, an example would be during those days, we need to survive. Burger King need to do business, so but we cannot afford to cut back on the number of seats. Okay, a lot of our previous business model is actually based on seat count and table turns, very atypical of many restaurants that you saw outside. So how when we have to start maintaining 1 meter apart, and when we review the layout, okay, when Faizin have to review 56 stores overnight, the sitting plan, you can imagine the stress for operations as well, and to ensure that we have to have the tables separated at least 1 meter apart. Then there was a time that we decided to also look into other countries and other markets, and we saw that some other markets creatively came up with what they call the table separator. So this is actually a very large size acrylic poster or acrylic piece that creates a physical barrier between one table of guests to the next table. And honestly, to us, that was we thought that was the perfect solution. Okay. However, the interpretation is very different. Let me share with you. We have different stores, and we have the red shirts, what I call the safe distancing ambassadors. They have very different understanding. Okay, that's what we realize as well. Okay, to them, the 1 meter still is not allowed, even though you have a physical barrier. Yes, you may be curious how this is, but the truth is, there is no proper guidelines. Okay, so we were left to our own. What I'm trying to say is that we're left to our own to try to develop solutions that work. Okay, and many times we relate back to the government. Okay, MOM, MOH. Okay, to talk to them and explore like what is and try to impress upon them that, hey, being a conglomerate, we have the ability to feed people, we have the ability to scale up, and we can help to rewrite the future, the F&B industry. Okay, so that is part of the context why we decided to work with DSG to establish so-called the new norm. Okay, but our ideas are always limited, so we wanted to tap into a larger design community and take this chance, and us being a very willing partner, hope to get some spark off some proposals and which may be highly relevant to us instead of just having a current stopgap solution. Okay, and along the way, as we also realize another problem we face is when we're doing a lot of digitalization, the adoption rate is increasing. Okay, we used to only have about 20% of the downloads and they were active users. Okay, now we see as high as 40%. Okay, and however, we also realized that we neglected the true human connection. My auntie who used to work at the counter, doing counter service, taking orders, also because of we were worried about their health because of the implication of COVID. They may be more vulnerable. So we also decided that perhaps they probably shouldn't be customer facing. But then we also have customers coming to the store telling us that, hey, we crave the human connection that the auntie offers me, and the familiarity that every morning I walk in, the auntie will immediately just key in my order. I don't really like the kiosk. I don't, as much as I know that you have such things, but we try not to use it. The reason is because we crave for human connections. Okay. So I'm sharing with you real anecdotes from our customers who actually actively do write to us through Facebook, give us feedback. Okay, digitalization did enable us to connect a lot more easy, and actually it allowed us to move into a lot of cashless procedure as well, which largely is actually beneficial for the business moving ahead. As we don't have to count money, and things are more in line, data are more streamed faster into the cloud, and we can see the information faster. But yet, the authenticity of human connections is also being told to us that is missing. Some of them have even joked that perhaps then in that case, perhaps why don't we even need to have a counter for to face the customers? We just need to have pigeonholes, for example. to place their order in the pigeonhole and allow them to open it with the pin sent to their mobile phone, you know. And I'll be honest with you, this is what we are looking into, okay. But I decided that this may not be what the customers really want, okay, and which is why today we decided to come with a challenge statement, okay. So let me just read out the two challenge statement again, okay. The first one is, how might we design future fast food restaurants that enhances guest experiences amidst the current challenges we are facing? Okay. And then the other one is, how might we design to establish authentic human connections when integrating digital elements in these new experiences? Okay, food for thought. Okay, next. So what are we looking for? Okay, we're looking for ideas. Okay, online, offline, hybrid ideas. You know, basically to experiences for the future fast food restaurant, for our future Burger King restaurant. Okay, including designs and concepts. Okay, contactless restaurant service. Okay, right now we already have it, but I'd love to hear from you guys, experts, and see what way we can actually humanize the contactless process. Okay, and then also take into consideration the interior and exterior facade of a drive-through and dine-in experience. Okay, workflow back, and also the workflow itself, the back of house workflow and front of house operations. We're listing all this down is because we don't want to limit to only one section of the restaurants. Okay, we're looking for proposals, literally for the whole restaurant, for the whole business. Okay, which is why you can see the channels that we're focusing on even includes the drive-through and dine-in. Okay, one of the reasons why we are doing this is actually Burger King Singapore currently does not have any drive-through. Okay, but we decided that if this works out, we already have a site earmarked for drive-through, but that is in 2022. So we think that is the perfect timing. If we do get amazing, fantastic proposals, we may actually work out some commercial arrangement to have it applied to the drive-through store we're opening in 2022. Okay. The subjects of the challenge in this case would involve creative space planning. The reason why this is to define the operation flow, the kitchen especially, okay, and to allow for the customer journey and where the activity should be held. Okay, reason for this is, as you can see, when we have the search, we have some stores that was never really designed for home delivery. However, because of COVID, we saw the huge surge in home delivery orders. And at any particular moment, you shouldn't be surprised to see more than 20 delivery riders waiting for their orders. Okay, so what happens? Because if you have a store that already have 50% seats being taken up because of social distancing measures, but yet you need to create sufficient space to hold home delivery partners when they come and collect their food. So this is what we're talking about. We need help with the creative space planning and how do we ensure the safe movement for the people when they're in the restaurant as well. Okay. It is also not limited. We can also talk about the proposals can also be talking about ordering and payment systems. Okay, and the various methods that forward-looking. How do we go about adopting that? Okay, the channels itself, as I mentioned, would include pickup, dining, to go, drive-through, and also particularly third-party support home delivery services. Okay, you can talk about digitalization, interactive. Okay, we talk about AI as well. Okay, and at the end of it, we also still want to ensure that the restaurant is not too clinical. So we appreciate some ideas and proposals for the dining space, aesthetic, and the function. Okay, and greenery are definitely welcome. We do have some stores that, for example, we work with Parks, that we actually design a garden, a garden wall. I think Faizin can shed more light on that later. Okay, so these are some of the subjects. You can see that it's all encompassing. Okay, and we are also omni-channel. Okay, but how do we redefine a brick and mortar store like a drive-through store that we are going to open in 2022? How do we redesign that to ensure that we enhances human connection despite digitalization? Yeah, Okay, and we still can continue to offer good food and in a most safe environment to our customers. Okay, so next I will is actually a floor plan. Okay, that we decided that it's necessary to give everybody a space to work with. Okay, and this is the floor plan you are looking at now. Okay, this is as real as it is, lah, guys. Okay, you will see the floor trap and even the specific information will be included inside. Okay, so before I take on any questions, I'm going to hand over to Faizin. Okay, Faizin will walk us through the existing design framework that we have been designing Burger King in Singapore. Okay, over to you, Faizin.
Hi. Okay. Hi guys. Hope you all doing well. Yeah, I'm Faizin from Burger King Singapore. I'm a designer restaurant from Burger King Singapore. Okay. Generally, I would like to talk about back later on the next slide to show you the brand concept, 3 brand concept of Burger King global. Okay. Before I started off, the floor plan that I show you in the screen right now, the slide is actually a generic, typical, normal layout. So it is not really related to any of our restaurant or something like that. It's basically a space for you to work on. So at least everybody have a fair share of space to work on, rather than the proposal came back with all different kind of layout here and there. So at least is to be fair, everybody have to be challenging, is to create a space, the flow, and actually the define the space of BOH and the FOH. Okay, the next slide I want to show you is actually the brand concept. Okay, we have 3 brand concept. Firstly is a garden grill. Say garden grill is one of the pioneer concepts which actually still been using in global Burger King around the world. Okay, these are all the reference of the brand concept. You have to take note about the warm and natural color based on the concept. You have a banquet wall sitting. These are all the zones. Garden wall sitting, booth sitting, the counter, how it look like, and loose dining and sittings. So you please take note, these are just a reference. Okay, you not necessarily have to be inject into your proposal, but just take note that the color have to be warm and natural. Okay, for it's open to ideas. Doesn't mean need to be the banquet wall to be in the straight form. You can have a curve, S shape, or whatever you like, depending on the proposal. Take note on the ceilings also. These are all the key elements that you just take note on the designing for Burger King in totality. Okay, the next one is actually a prime. Okay, prime is more edgy, more colorful, more hip in terms of sittings, a bit off edgy, but somehow or other it will infuse in some colors to create some hype. Basically, it's warm, natural, and bold. Please take note that this is just a reference again. Okay, it's actually banquet wall, the crown wall, booth seating, the counter, and also the loose seating and dining. You can see that the communal table is different from the rest, and the floor finishes. Okay, basically, these are all reference to the color of the concept. You may have some proposal, you may have some function that you need to integrate the table, some device in it. By all means, these are all just a reference to have it infused to all the technology in our furniture itself. You can modify here and there, but take note on the color itself. And the last one is Royal, which is currently the current, not say current, but actually the new concept of Burger King, which moving forward, most of our global will be having this type of concept. The same thing, the color theme is actually warm and natural with vibrant accents. As you can see that the furniture is slightly different. It's a little bit more 60s, but it's a bit more on the nostalgia side, but infused with color to make it more modern. With a light wood tone, and the ceiling, the feature ceiling is there. The communal table is also slightly different. Even the bar stool sitting is more industrial and edgy and modern settings. So you can see that the color is very warm, very natural, and a touch of like splash of green, orange, yellow to make it more hype, to make the store looks modern. Okay, these are the 3 concepts for you to have an idea and a reference how our Burger King global brand look like. Okay, not necessarily you have to follow the same. We just like to make it more idea, to give you an idea how the brand's concept is. Okay, before I proceed, I would like to elaborate more on the key subject of the challenge. Okay, like my CEO previously was saying that, okay, the creative space planning we are looking at is something that you need to define the BOH and FOH. The BOH is where the back of house, where this is the money making play, where we create a service and create the food. When we cook the food, everything, we grill the burger and we serve it. This is the place where we need to be like a serving area. We need to make sure that the challenge is how we deliver the food and serve the food to the customer in the counter, or maybe counterless, or maybe just like a board, a pigeonhole, like my CEO was saying. By having a generic pigeonhole, maybe you can have some interactive in the pigeonhole saying that your food is ready in a few minutes here and there, in some graphic. So make it more alive. This is part of the human touch that maybe we're looking at, some general reference. And like ordering payment system, maybe you're like looking at some ideas of digital touch screen or holographic, our crew standing there in front holographically. Then after that, they were saying that, "Hi, welcome to Burger King. Can you take your order?" So it's virtual. So these are some of the ideas that we're also looking at for the Burger King future. Not necessarily as a ordering kiosk, or maybe can have a what do you call it, voice services, like a bank. Some of the bank retail, they are using voice services. So these still have a human touch connection. And for the defined space, aesthetic, and function, basically you have ideas of having a digitalization. It's a device by itself, but how to integrate this device into our concept. Maybe it's like a box up with some elements, infuse it inside our in one of the tables, or sitting when ordering from the table. I mean, it's contactless to our crew, but apparently what we have right now is actually basically all the ordering kiosks is by standalone. So what we need idea on this is a reference of idea how we can go about into digitalization infused into the function and aesthetic. Okay, then the last thing is on the green aesthetic. Okay, this green aesthetic is actually an idea, some idea to input some what do you call it, greenery in a restaurant. Basically, with all digitalization, interactive, touch screen, wireless, Wi-Fi, 5G, 6G, everything, all these include radiation. So having a greenery aesthetic to actually reduce and absorb radiation. So we can think along the way some science ideas to infuse to make it to safe for all our customers and also our crew. Then what like I want to say about the creative space planning to define our operation and flow. You can have a two separate zone whereby you can see the crew, but the food is still delivered, and human touch, like in touch of the voice recording, voice services, or some digital panel or some interactive panel that you can talk to our crew if there's any doubt or problems when receiving the order. Same goes to the drive-through. These are all the challenges and the function that we are looking at when you have a drive-through. The moment you drive, you order, you pay, and you collect. But this is all contactless. So this is how we need to, this is how the challenge that we need to get it perfectly done and make sure that it's the theme of contactless restaurant service. Because right now you still make payment through a counter. If you do like a McDonald's drive-through, you still make payment, physically make payment at the window and physically collect. So we try to eliminate that contactless. How can we have a space or zone where a driver can pick up the food by itself? So in the whole totality concept, it brings this concept into our restaurant where you are literally physically not driving, but actually you're just walking to our restaurant, making order, payment, and collect. And also you need to make sure that the social distancing that we are having right now, and it might be going moving forward years to come. Maybe you need to define a space of dine-in, the collection of the delivery guys, and also the collection of the pickup, where people go there and just pick up and go. So these are all the challenges and some of the ideas that you might need to think of and infuse inside the challenge concept. So other than that, I would like you to pen over to Jewel, and good luck. And we hope to see your nice and wonderful proposal to work on with. Thank you.
Thank you, Faizan. Thank you, Mr. Go Chin Hao and Faizan, Mr. Faizan Sedek, for bringing us through that insightful presentation. If you have any queries about the presentation, please submit them through the Zoom Q&A module so that we may address them during this Q&A segment. So we're now moving into this Q&A segment right here. And there are some questions coming through already through the chat. And you have any other thoughts from the sharing, please feel free to keep them coming. We may not have full time to address them right here, but we will still follow up with your questions as well. So we do actually have a first question right here. What is the current customer mix in general? Does Burger King attract more families with kids, white collars or students, young adults? Would you like to maybe have a breakdown on that?
Okay, let me address this question. Okay, Burger King itself, our target audience is actually the PMEVs and actually more of the savvy people who know how to enjoy life better. So that is actually our profile of our customers. They appreciate the finer things, food in life. So families, yes, okay, we do have families, but our proportion is probably already about 20%. 40 to 60% actually is more PMEVs.
Yeah, and we've got another question coming in. So the brief actually asks about a contactless restaurant service and authentic human connections, which seem contradictory. So if Burger King could maybe explain what sort of human connections are envisioned without this physical human contact?
Okay. Actually, I think Faizin did gave some examples. For example, the holographic VR and things like that. So this is as much as it's a contradiction, but we feel that that's the crux of the issue we are facing now. Okay, many times people believe that thought that contactless means that there is really no human touch to it. I think that actually goes back to our challenge statement. We hope to find a proposal that can crack this.
Okay. And the next question, so what are actually the expectations of this proposal? Are there, would you be expecting visualizations, prototypes? Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay, the main focus of this challenge is the concept. You can have a visualization, you can have a 3D visual, you can have a mock-up, but it's all depend. It's just the initial stage. The main priority is how you define this concept and the challenge to suit our needs, like what the contactless. How do you do the contactless? You doesn't need to be a totally 3D visual, but it will be good to have some visualized to at least we know what are the concept being addressed to us. Like for that's why the whole thing that I give you the whole plan is just a simple plan. From the plan itself, it can turn out to be into a concept by zoning, not necessarily to be physically draw everything, but the reference of the brand concept, which I already shared earlier, to infusing into your zone. Maybe some sitting zone, what do you call it, sofa area, banquet area, and then after that, you will infuse into your technology that you're proposing. So not necessary to be 3D visual, but it's all depend on your presentation so that the ideas that crossover to us is fine. I mean, we know what you try. That's is the concept.
And so one other question that's come in is, are there any architectural or elevation drawings for the proposed site?
Currently, we don't have it. Like I said, that is just a general, what do you call it, layouts. So we want to make sure that the concept is right before it put it into the real actual layout. I mean, in terms of the proposal will be slightly a bit different to the actual site, but at least the concept is there. The concept is along the way. No matter how the layout is, at least the concept can be used and implemented to any of the layout that is available in Singapore for Burger King restaurant.
Mm. Okay, and the next question here, actually, how was the prior design process like? Did you work with external designers, or were things done in-house, or were there areas in the previous design process you felt were lacking?
Okay, we actually we have our own designers. So I mean, one of them, one of the teams. So basically, we have to follow protocol based on global concept. here and global concept. So we have also have a priority to have our own ideas, which we share to global that okay, this concept will suits to this environmental area. Let's say like for instance the N Park project, we need to create some garden wall, which is not in the 100% global concept idea, but after when we infuse it this, they actually think about it, yeah, because these are all the current in environmental area that we need to put in. So these are all the ideas that we can have it to infuse. It's not about lacking of ideas. It's just that we have to street protocol based on the global, because it's a brand standing. We need to make it all over the global have the same brand standard, at least to cover 90% or 80% of it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that was another question that came in quite similar in that area of what would the proposal have to take into the consideration of the operations in other parts of the world. So maybe if you'd like to add a bit more to that in specific areas, or will you say that your answer has fully covered this question for the person?
I can answer this. No, right now it's not. However, if it's commercially adopted with the global blessing, it may become a global project.
So there is a chance for international collaboration?
Yes. We have seen other markets in Europe become best practices and actually shared among the network.
Okay. And what are the main deliverables for proposals? That's another question that's come through.
Okay, the main deliverable is actually how we define the current contactless restaurant design. I mean, apart from seeing all this social distancing, the divider screen and everything, we also wanted to have some ideas like a fully automated restaurant, whereby you just enter the restaurant without any crew. All the crew will be back our house. You just order, paid, and pick up. So the lacking part of it is the human touch. So this is where the challenge that we need. How do we integrate the human touch into our digitalization right now? As per my CEO was addressed earlier, where people complain that they never get a welcome notes or welcome invite, welcome from our counter crew say that welcome to Burger King. There's no more of that already, because a lot of them will be, oh, please proceed to the ordering kiosk. Please proceed to the ordering kiosk. So to some of the not a tech savvy, or maybe the old people, they might be some trouble to ordering the food. So they prefer the traditional way, walking to the counter, order, wait, and come.
I see. Okay, and we're actually quickly approaching the end of this Q&A session right here. So one last question that is here, it's actually, if the sky is the limit, what would the Burger King restaurant of the future look like?
I probably wouldn't be able to describe the appearance of a restaurant, but I would say that it is a restaurant that actually will be able to fulfill the experiences of and the expectation of all our customers coming to the store. Okay, with our basic good food and food safe.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, panelists, for this engaging conversation. For those of you who are keen on design impact projects and are seeking for inspiration and suitable project partners, we hope that this webinar has inspired you to design for the future. If you are keen to explore design research projects in this area or are keen to respond to Burger King Singapore's challenge statement, please reach out to us or Burger King for more information. And we also would love to have you participate in our next GDR open call in March 2021. So my colleague Hui Mei will be sharing more about our next GDR open call. Hui Mei, please.
Hi, thanks, Joel. So if you are keen to learn more about the GDR challenge statements, do look out for our upcoming GDR sharing and engagement session happening in mid-January. You may also scan the QR code on the bottom left, where we will also have other existing challenge statements that you can respond to. So as Joel has mentioned earlier on, if you are keen to respond to the Burger King Singapore's challenge statements, or actually any other challenge statements listed on our website, do participate in our next GDR open call happening in March 2021 to stand a chance to receive cash sponsorship, mentorship, and publicity support for your proposal. So before we end the session, we would like to do a quick poll to have a sense on how many of you in the audience would like to submit a proposal addressing Burger King's challenge statement in the next GDR open call. Okay, so the poll results are in, and almost 80% of you would like to submit a proposal responding to the challenge statements. We look forward to your submissions in the next GDR open call in March. We also look forward to you attending more of our events, upcoming events. Yep, and with this, I'll pass the time back to Jewel.
Yeah, thank you, Hui Mei. So we hope you found the session inspiring and meaningful. Once again, we would like to thank you for joining us this afternoon and our speakers for the inspiring, insightful sharing. As a follow-up to the webinar, we will be actually sharing a summary of the session along with the contact details for our speakers after the session. So you may scan the QR code for more details on the Good Design Research Initiative, as well as the challenge statements, including those from our knowledge partners like Burger King Singapore, and open challenge statements as well. You'll find them on the website. So we hope to see you at subsequent events or even your submissions under the open call. So thank you and see you soon.